If I told you that in the last 5 years, I had finished a bachelor's degree in health and wellness, worked as the head chef at 2 different dude ranches, spent a winter at a ski resort, visited over 20 national parks, worked at a strength and conditioning gym, gotten certifications in health coaching and personal training, mountain biked in the Arizona Sonoran Desert, backpacked in Utah, Washington, Oregon, Wyoming, and Montana, taught myself photography and photo editing skills, videography and video editing skills, and still wasn't fully satisfied with where I'm at or what I've accomplished. Would that make any sense? Maybe that doesn't sound all that impressive to you, but if you'd have told the version of me 6 years ago that I was going to accomplish all of those things, there's not a chance in hell that I would have believed him. Or I would have believed me, or him. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. The TLDR version of the already abbreviated story that I'm about to tell about how I got here is that I haven't been able to make a decision about what I wanted to do with my life. And that prevented me from getting started for a long time because I was afraid of what people would say about the decisions that I was making and the direction that I was heading. So I went from working as a strength and conditioning coach pre-COVID to working at 2 different dude ranches year-round for 2 straight years to now trying to start my own creative business. It's not actually that bright out here, but I'm standing in snow. I can't do it. I can't. I realized pretty early on in the process of taking online classes to get that health and wellness degree that I wanted to build something for myself. At the time, the plan was to get the degree, then get certifications in health coaching and personal training, and then start to build my own business. But I wish I would have realized at the time that I would have been way better off not investing all that time and money into the degree and just getting the certifications and got started gaining experience and working as a coach and then gone through the process that direction. Ultimately, getting that degree hasn't really added all that much value to my life. It's something that I'm proud of, but I don't necessarily know if it was worth the time and money that I spent on it. It also just didn't really feel as satisfying as I thought it would. It was kind of anticlimactic, but that isn't really the point. So once the gym shut down because of COVID, I ended up coming back out here to Wyoming to spend the summer at the ranch that I had been at for the previous couple of years. And I wasn't really sure what my long-term plans were at that point, but I started taking photography a lot more seriously. I bought my first real camera and taught myself how to use the photo editing software, really started putting a lot of time and effort into that. That fall and winter, I ended up at a dude ranch in Arizona. I got distracted by a girl, got my heart broken, and then started refocusing on photography again. At that point, I really started to try to educate myself as much as possible, watched a ton of free YouTube tutorials, and started to try to think about how I could turn photography into a side hustle. I started planning and going on these elaborate road trips that were specifically designed to put myself in position to take some really cool landscape photos because at the time that was kind of what I was focused on. I started thinking about and experimenting a little bit with video at the time. Like any good hiker, backpacker, I found Craig Adams on YouTube. He makes these really cool silent backpacking videos, and so I played around with that a little bit, but ultimately kind of just stuck with photography at the time. Around December of 2021, I think, I started posting a photo to Instagram every day just to kind of see where that would take me before I realized that Instagram wasn't a photo sharing platform anymore. I ended up designing my own website, bought a photo printer, and set up a print store on my website without any real plan for how I was going to market myself or sell photos. Not a great idea. So YouTube was a huge part of how I taught myself everything I could about photography, but I also subscribed to other channels as well, mainly like productivity type stuff. And around that time, I discovered Ali Abdaal, and he makes mostly videos about life and productivity, but he had a few videos about his journey transitioning from medicine to full-time YouTube. And he had a few videos talking about how other people can and should start YouTube channels as well. And that kind of got my wheels spinning. I started watching people like Matt D'Avella and Nathaniel Drew for tips about life and productivity and minimalism and stuff like that. But I realized that they were telling their stories with these beautiful visuals. I mentioned those road trips that I went on, and that was a huge part of deciding to keep doing what I was doing, working seasonally at the Dude Ranches. And then I found people like Iz and Johnny Harris, and especially the travel videos that Iz made. I realized that I really wanted to create travel videos like that to tell stories about the road trips that I was going on. But I got a little bit hung up on some details that didn't matter. If there's one thing, and I've already talked about it in this video, that I should have learned, and I guess I kind of did learn, but didn't apply it quickly enough from my time spent in health and fitness to now getting going with filmmaking and videography, it was to just get started. But I kind of didn't really take my own advice. A quote that I love from author Ryan Holiday is that you're better off starting imperfectly than being paralyzed by the hope or delusion of perfection. One of the things that really prevented me from getting started was getting too hung up on gear and thinking that I needed to have the same gear that all my favorite YouTubers had, and that I needed not necessarily the best of the best, but I needed the best that I could afford. And I spent way too much time researching, and all that time could have been spent on making videos. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned from that was that even with the same gear that those people have, your videos just aren't going to look as good as theirs do. They have years and years of experience. That's why their videos look so good. So if you're watching this and you think that you need to upgrade your gear, my advice would be to just get started with what you have, even if it's just an iPhone. I ignored advice from my favorite creators telling me not to focus on gear and focusing on it anyway. In the book, The Practice, Seth Godin talks about the importance of shipping your creative work, meaning put your shit out there. Make a bunch of crappy stuff, put it out into the world, learn, iterate, get better. So many authors and creatives talk about this, the importance of just putting your work out there and developing a practice and getting started. Ernest Hemingway famously said, "The first draft of anything is shit." There's a law called Sturgeon's Law, some other author that I had never heard of before, not the fish, that says that 90% of everything is crap. It can be hard to get over the fact that you have a lot of work to do before you start making things that are good, but the sooner you come to terms with that, the sooner that you can start to make progress toward actually creating quality stuff. All right, I promise I'm gonna get to a point here sooner or later, but it's very cold out here, and I've already been out here even before filming this video. I was doing a little photo shoot with myself. That's not why I'm in my typical hoodie, and well, I guess I'm in the beanie now, but anyway, I walked out here in 3 inches of snow in my Chelsea boots, and my feet are freezing, and I need to get back inside. And the color in the background is just going to make it harder to color grade. Warmer. I have no idea. Doesn't matter. We're going to try it. Just need to get going. All right, here's the setup. You can see how close the light is to me and the camera. I just spent like 20 minutes getting this shot set up, but I think this is what we're rolling with. Coffee as usual, and also so that I can have something white in the shot, so I can properly white balance my shot when I'm color grading. I feel like it looks a little warm right now. So this video is going to kick off a series of videos where I plan on documenting the process of trying to become a full-time creative entrepreneur. And I'm going to call it the Becoming series. It's based off of a quote in the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, where she says becoming is better than being. And I'm not going to get into all the nuances of that statement, but That's where it comes from.